Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the limit breaking challenge Vegeta GT Giant Ape. Now this is a free to play unit that recently got his Extreme Z Awakening on DBZ Dokkan battle, and I want to take a look at just how good he can be basically with his EZA. Now he's a giant type lead or giant ape power lead of 77% with a 50% for int type units. He raises attack permanently and greatly raises his defense for one turn on his super attack and causes supreme damage to the enemy and lowers defense. He has attack and defense of 120% with an additional attack and defense of 50% when performing a super attack. He gets an additional attack and defense of 120% when there's another giant ape power category ally on the team, and an additional defense of 50% and a high chance of performing a critical hit when there's a Shadow Dragon Saga category enemy. He guards all attacks when HP is 50% or more, and turns into a giant ape when conditions are met. His conditions for his giant ape transformation are to have 50% less HP from the 4th turn from the start of battle, and Sand Warrior Race, Prodigy, Sand Royal Lineage, GT, Transform, and Shine the Limit are his link sets, and he's on Shadow Dragon Saga, Giant Form, Pure Saiyans, Vegeta's Family, Worthy Rivals, Giant Ape Power, Gifted Warriors, GT Heroes, Battle of Fate, Bond the Parent and Child. In his giant ape form, he has Ki +3 and attack of 50%, which at the end of the day is not too bad. Now overall this Vegeta is what I would class as being pretty solid. Honestly speaking, he's really not that bad. Having the requirement of giant ape power category unit is not too hard on any of his categories. Shadow Dragon Saga, you've got the SS4s, Giant Form, you've got Giant Ape Vegeta, the one I'm using now, and all the other Giant Form units, Pure Saiyans, Vegeta's Family. All of these have pretty good access to Giant Ape power units, which is pretty good. He then also has that guards all attacks when HP is 50% or more. Now having a health requirement on guarding all attacks isn't always so great, especially in super hard content, but 50% or more is a decent threshold. You'll find anything 50% or below is probably better in terms of health requirements. Like a great example is Golden Frieza, who has 90% damage reduction at 40%. This is a pretty good threshold because usually you're not below 40%. Kind of similarly with 50% health. If it was like 60% or 70% or 80%, Vegeta would lose a lot of his usability, but because it's not, it's pretty good. In terms of his defense, pretty nice stats. Obviously he gains quite a bit on super attack, so he has around 140 to 160k depending on support, gaining another 50% with his super attack, and obviously also greatly raising defense on his super pushes him to like the 300k bracket, which actually is pretty good. It's pretty good after super defense, really quite solid, honestly pretty good. I actually think he's really good. I think he's really solid. With defensive equips, with him getting his super attack, I think he can be really solid. After super, his defense will be between 400 to 500k, depending obviously on link leveling, etc. But overall, he's pretty good. I think one thing about him that I do like is that his conditions are not too bad. The locking of 120% attack and defense between giant ape power isn't an issue. The Shadow Dragon Saga requirement is a little bit of a shame, but it's not the end of the world. The crit chance is nice to have, the defense is nice to have, but they're not necessary to make him amazing, but they do definitely elevate him a decent chunk. I think for me, Vegeta is solid. I do enjoy him. I think he's quite good. I think he's quite a reliable unit to use. I think he's actually a very good free-to-play unit. I think he's very solid attack stat-wise. We're looking at that 3-4 million attack mark, which is good. He does raise his attack permanently. In terms of build, probably just full defense with maybe a bit of additional. I think for me, additionals, because then you can get those double stacks of raising defense, all pretty good. Obviously his crit being locked behind Shadow Dragon Saga is a bit of a shame. You could give him a tiny bit of crit if you want to, but otherwise you can just go kind of like additionals, evasion, defense, make him just a pure defensive unit, would also be fine. Evasion equips, defense equips, anything like that, all kind of meshes really well together. and I think overall is a pretty solid foundation to work off of. Link wise, he has a decent link set, quite solid. Same Warrior Ace, Sand Raw, Road Lineage, GT, Transform. It's not the kind of link set where you're going to get a lot of units that have like 4 or 5 links with them, but it's going to be the kind of link set where he gets all the crucial ones. So for example, on like a GT team, he has GT, he has Sand Raw, basically covers him for anything he needs to do. On a Pure Sands or a Giant Ape Power team, he's got Sand Raw, he's got Transform, he's got Sand Warrior Ace, so this kind of covers him there. In general, just a decent link set that gives him a good foundation to work off of, and ultimately at the end of the day, it's just a very solid one that he can kind of mesh with. I never really suggest link leveling free-to-play units, obviously, but I think there is value in link leveling him. Sand Raw and GT are very powerful links, and so is Transform. When it comes to link leveling, you get a lot of value out of them, and yeah. I think overall he's not restricted enough that you need to worry about his categories, and I think he's actually a really fun unit to use, that also at the end of the day is quite solid and brings a lot to the table. I think overall a very good free-to-play unit, and he elevates a couple teams. I think GT Heroes he works well on, Shadow Dragon Saga, all of these are kind of nice ones for him to work off of. But that's going to be it from me. See you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video, and bye.